Hi guys, welcome to this desk session for builders. We'll be waiting one more minute. We're already a little bit late, but we see that the number of people is still growing, so people are joining. Today we'll be talking about real world AI use cases. We'll display a little feature that helps you build better assistants on Dust, and then I'll leave the mic to two of our customers, which are Malt and Officy. uh, and that's going to be great because it's 2024 was the year of discovering AI, and 2025 is the year of discovering AI use cases. So we'll be talking about actual real world use cases today. Um, okay, let's wait just a few more seconds. We're about 55 right now, so don't hesitate to present yourself in the chat. As usual, don't hesitate to ask your questions in the chat. Remy is going to be there to make sure to answer most of the questions, and to poke me if I need to answer a question that I haven't seen while I'm talking. Um, and when Laurent and Leo are going to be presenting, same thing, you'll be able to ask your questions. And at the end of each use case, we'll have a small Q&A, few minutes of Q&A. And then at the very end of the session, we'll have a bigger Q&A if we have time left. Everything's recorded, and you'll be able to watch it later if you can't attend the whole thing today. Okay, let's get started. So let me share my screen first. First thing we want to present is a little feature that we shipped, which is pretty. It sounds pretty small. It actually is pretty small. Was pretty small to build, but it's very important. It's to be able to iterate on your assistants. So just as a small reminder, on Dust, you can build assistants, which are a set of instructions that you attach data to. So your data, your instructions, but the main thing is that it needs to work together, right? If your instructions are not great, uh, sorry, if your instructions are not great at I need to leave my head. That's always a little complicated part. Yeah, there you go. You see my screen now. Um, if your instructions are not great at talking to your data, that's something you will feel when using your assistants pretty much every day. So what we consider good answers from your assistant is when 90% of the time you're happy with the answer. Above 90% of the time, it's something that we consider being good. Under that, we consider that being pretty mediocre, and that's not something that you might want to use a lot because you feel like you're going to have to um, check the data every time. So to be able to know if your assistants are giving good answers, there's two different ways. The first way is using it yourself, but that might not give you the entire picture if you have built an assistant for your team and other people are using it, right? They might tell you during lunch saying, oh, I tried this thing and it didn't work well. But the good thing is that now on Dust, you can have actual feedback and you can actually reach the conversation that was problematic. Um, so whenever a user is talking to an assistant, um, so this assistant is just a cat. So it shows, oh yeah, it just should answer like a cat. It's pretty much doing nothing, but for the demo, we don't need it. Um, you'll have this little thumbs up, thumbs down right there. And when you click it, you will be presented with the builder of that assistant. So I'm not the builder of that Supinu assistant. Daphne built it. And so I can share my conversation with her saying, hey, I was expecting a dog to bark. Um, I'm submitting the feedback, and then Daphne is going to be able to see my feedback um, and try to iterate on the assistant using that feedback. The pretty good stuff is that we've got customers with hundreds of people in their company, and you can actually build that at scale. So we have a workspace usage API as well that you can ask us to activate. So if you want to export all your feedback as an CSV or whatever format you want using our API, you can just export that, throw that in reports, retool or metabase or whatever you want, and then start building graphs around how good your assistants are in your company. That's when you have a lot more people in your company. All right, so how does it work? How does it look like when I want to see my feedback? Well, basically, if I go in the Manage Assistant page, I can just sort by feedback, and I see that Supinu has had 4 good feedbacks and 1 bad feedback in the last month. So if I go to performance, I'm going to see the number of active users. That's also a pretty good factor, because if you have 20 bad feedbacks, but you've got 200 users and thousands of messages, it's not that bad, right? If you've got 20 bad feedbacks with like 4 users and 21 messages, it's pretty bad. So that's something you might want to take a look at. We see my feedback here, and you'll be able to look at all the feedback from you users. If you're an admin of your workspace and you go to the workspace tab in the admin section, and you download your activity report, you'll get the feedback as a CSV as well. So that's where you can leverage it without having to actually use the API if you don't want to. All right, that was pretty fast. I'm not gonna monopolize the attention today because what we want to talk about is actual real use cases. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Let me know if you have any question on the feedback. It's super, super easy, but super important to build good assistants. Again, models are not, a very deterministic science. So sometimes you'll think your instructions are good, but you'll realize that other people are not getting the right answers. So you might want to know about that. Cool. I'll let the mic to Laurent from Officy. Welcome.
Hi Alban. Hi everybody. Thank you for welcoming Officy to this session. Let me share some slides for you. It's here. Okay. Okay, let me first introduce to you Officy, what we do, and why we decided to work with Dust to develop some AI assistants. So basically, we are part-time office management services for SMBs. So we're doing a lot of different tasks for customers: payroll management, expense management, suppliers payment, invoicing, offsite organization, daily workplace management. So a lot of different tasks. And we have a team of 40 different office managers, which are employees of Officy. They're working for many different companies. So they have a lot to do. And for each client, they have many different things to do. So, and each of these company expect from us reliability and efficiency. So it's a big challenge for us to be able to be very good in doing this very big amount of different tasks. AI assistance was very critical for us. Why? Because expertise, knowledge sharing, and productivity are very important doing our job. For several years, we use different tools. First, Slack. We use it to communicate internally, to ask questions and share knowledge. And we did a quick calculation. From the very beginning of Slack, we had 8,000 different discussions between our office managers about templates, about know-hows, about best practices, about how to do some things on different tools. So it was a big challenge to leverage all this knowledge that we produce every day. And then we use another very well-known tool right now, which is Notion, to leverage and share our internal knowledge. Basically, Notion for Office, it's more than 700 different pages and documents. So it's also big amount of data to use. So from the very beginning of Office, it's been a big challenge to access and leverage this data on a daily basis, because it's very good to have a lot of data, but if you are not able to use it for your customers, it's not useful at all. So we decided to leverage on the AI technologies to use this data. And why does? It's quite obvious right now, as we use Slack and Notion, and we are not we don't have a lot of developers in our company. It was very easy for us to develop AI assistants connecting with Slack and Notion. So we focused on two types of assistants to support our operations. The first one that we call OMA, for Office Manager Assistant, easy. We built it as the ChatGPT of admin and office management. Basically, OMA is an omniscient office manager, being able to answer any question, to provide any information or template or document about office management, administrative and office management. So it's exactly as you were talking to ChatGPT, but is getting all the informations only on data or informations or documents produced and leveraged by Office. So we'll be able to go a little deeper about OMA afterwards. Just to come back on OMA, something that is very important, it's recommendation. We have, as I told you, we have 40 people in the company, and we used to, on a daily basis, we try to find new suppliers on many needs. And we have a lot of questions about, do you know a company who can help about cleaning, who can help about organizing a breakfast, who can help to clean the office. And you spend a lot of time finding this information. And right now, with OMA, powered by Dust, we can get this information in maybe 5 to 10 seconds. So it's very powerful. The other type of assistance that we develop, it's the external tool Dust. It's actually we used Dust template to use it. I think that it's external tool FAQ, if I'm not wrong. So it was our starting point, and then we specified different points on this on the prompt, and this helpdesk help us to get all the useful information about the tools that we use on a daily basis, like Payfit, like Pennylane, like Luca, like 10 or maybe 15 different tools. So it's been built as if you were talking to another trained helpdesk agent for this tool. So it's very detailed, it's updated, it provides information in a very step-by-step way, and it gives you some examples and references. Let me show you directly in Dust what is it and how it works. So I have two examples here that I made for you before this session. For example, for OMA, sorry because it's in French, but I was asking OMA, my assistant, a recommendation about a supplier for renting some IT stuff like laptops. And it gave me recommendation about different suppliers, and everything that you can see on the screen, it's only recommendation from our employees. We have here all the references. It's some Slack discussions, and it's also some benchmark that we made in our Notion. And then I asked him, okay, you gave me all the names that you got from our basis. Now, can you give me recommendation for the two best from the office managers and why you recommend them? Okay, I won't show you the answers because I don't want to have some enemies, but it worked very well. So this is Omar. It's our universal assistant. And then let's see our help desk. So this is Penny Guide. We called it Penny Guide. It's the help desk for Penny Lane. Okay, and I asked him, can you tell me how to cancel an invoice? And he gave me all the process step by step. It's very clear, very simple. He gave me the link to the official. Sorry. He gave me the link to the official website, and then I have also the page, specific page provided by Penny Lane. Something is very interesting in my prompt here. I never asked to give me the information specifically for Penny Lane. Okay, it's only how to cancel the invoice. And as you can see here in the answer, he directly understood that I was speaking about Penny Lane. So you can be very straight and very simple, and it's been done for 10 tools. So it's very easy, very useful, and it provides a lot of value to our employees. And to finish, the main benefits are we have many different ideas for developing other assistants, but for this from this basis, the satisfaction rate from our team is almost 90%. So people are very happy about the quality of the answers. It's fast and it's very precise. So we are very happy. We are very happy about the experience that we provide to our customer and to our employees. And to be honest with you, right now we use Dust and Omar and the other assistant that we developed as a sales argument, and it's also very powerful.
Awesome. Thank you very much. To answer your question, JSEC, we basically have a few connectors that are pre-made in-house. So Notion, Slack, we've got Intercom, Google Drive, Microsoft, GitHub, stuff like that. And then if you have data from something else that we don't have, Yatsec. That's much better. Sorry about that. If you have data that you can't access directly through our native connectors, you can use our API to just push it inside your Dust repository. So thank you very much, Laurent. That was great. The one thing I didn't have time to tell you to click on is the tools inspection. I don't know if you can share your screen again, just so we can show that. But basically, when an assistant answers, at the end it will give you some footnotes of what it actually used in the answer. But if you click on tools inspection here, right under your Penny Guide, just above your tools inspection, just the button right below that. Yeah, there we go. This is the results that we pulled. So basically, when you use the search tool, it's doing a semantic search. So it's doing a search for meaning. It's not going to search for keywords. It's going to search for meaning. And so it's going to find a bunch of different things. We pull 32 chunks of documents from your data that you added to your assistants. So that's why we strongly advise to limit the data that you give to any given assistant to the specific set of data that you want to retrieve data from. Because if you give everything, we're going to pull 32 chunks. So if we pull 32 chunks from your entire data, it might be less relevant to what you're searching for than 32 chunks from a specific set of data. So here you see the results that we pulled from, and then from those chunks, it's going to be using just a small amount of them to actually answer. To answer Marielle HubSpot service, we don't have a HubSpot native connector, but we have. Thanks, Laurent. I'll just keep the screen for just a minute to answer the questions, and I'll share my screen. So we have a Dust Labs repository. Let me share my screen for a second. Basically, on GitHub, we've got a Dust Labs repository that you can see here. I'm going to put the link in the chat. And you've got scripts for different things. And one of them is HubSpot here. So you can actually use that to pull HubSpot data. I don't think it's tickets. I think it's accounts, so you can do account summaries. But if you want tickets, we can definitely work on building the script for tickets as well. But yeah, that requires a little bit more work on your side because you need to push the data to Dust. Will it soon be possible to access data from password protected internal websites? For now, unfortunately not, because we have a lot more other priorities to work on, and we decided to prioritize other things than rebuilding the web crawler. But this is something definitely on our roadmap, because we know our web crawler is just crawling public websites and also non-JavaScript websites. So it's there's a lot of limitations on it. So we'll be working on it again, definitely, but I can't say that it's prioritized in the near future at least, because we're a small team, very fast paced. So I can't promise anything in more than 3 months, and in the next 3 months, it's not something we're planning on actually working on. All right, I'll all right, last question I'll answer, and then I'll leave the mic to Leo. Is it possible to create a chatbot on top of Dust? Through our API, it's possible. It's not something that we offer on the shelf, because we are a business, like B2B business. If you want to create a chatbot, you can, officially you can, because we've got customers who did it, but it's not like, I don't know how to say this, but you'll basically have to build your own assistants, make sure that they answer correctly, because if you put them customer facing and they answer wrong, that's basically on you. That's why we're not currently offering like a one stop, one stop script to do that. um are you planning to increase the number of private spaces and business subscriptions? Yes, we're planning on releasing an in-between plan. So for now, private spaces are limited to one space for the pro plans and unlimited space for enterprise plans. And we're planning on building something in the middle to be able to achieve a more enterprise looking type of plan for non enterprise customers. Okay, I'll go back to all these questions at the very end. I'll let Leo start with his use cases, because he has a lot to talk about. Well, Leo, welcome to the stage.
Yeah, hello everyone. Can you
Uh,
hear me well?
yeah, we can hear you. I'll
Okay.
let you present yourself and go ahead, and I'll ping you if there's any questions.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. So let me share my screen. There we go. Can you see it? um Hello everyone. So I'm working at Malt, as mentioned in the slide and by Alban. And I'm here today to show you 3 use cases that we use daily at Malt and showing you live how to build them. Before starting to the use cases, I just wanted to present Malt for the one who might don't know it. Basically, Malt is a marketplace. We match freelancer with clients and enterprises. So basically, you can go on Malt and look for freelancers directly, or you can register as a freelancer. It's free. So our job at Malt is to serve both these clients and enterprises and the freelancer. So that's why, as of today, we are the leader in the market in France and Europe, and we are more than 600 internally. So as you can imagine, this creates a lot of chaos, lot of Notion pages, and lot of processes. And we used Dust to streamline, sorry, this, and yeah, be more productive in our day to day. Quickly about me, so I'm working in the data team as a data project manager. What does it mean concretely? It's just that I'm working in between data ops and growth, and implementing some of the workflows that I'm going to show you today. So we implemented Dust at Malt last year at the beginning, and at first we used only the conversational interface. So that's why Laurent have shown you. We still use it a lot. And as our usage were growing, basically we had an intuition and hypothesis that basically AI is most effective when embedded in our daily tools. The objective was, yeah, how can we minimize, the friction between the user and the AI interface? So that's why we started to create this concept of AI workflows that are basically sequence workflows that you create and in which you embed AI. So in this case, Dust, and also AI agents. You've seen a lot of them on the web recently, but basically AI agents, as we call them, is just let AI take the decision, and on top of an output decided by AI, you have another AI interacting and then interacting with your day-to-day tools. In my presentation today, I'm going to show you concretely 3 examples of this workflow as an agent. The first one is going to be a sales use case. So how can we create a personalized email with Dust? Second one would be how can we categorize and tag product feedbacks that we received? And last but not least, a use case on agent that is how can we automate the generation of drafts directly in Front, the ticketing tool that we use, and not Zendesk that I've seen some example about. So that's the plan for today. Before starting, I just wanted to give you a quick overview on what do we call as workflows and how did we build them. So the objective of these workflows, as I've said it, is to use Dust without noticing it for the end user and our Malters, that are the employees at Malt. And to do so, we have chosen no-code tools. We started with Zapier. Now we are on Make. And just a quick introduction on this, no-code tools, each no-code tool works the same way. Basically, you have a trigger that is an action, and this trigger can trigger basically an action on tools that can be Notion, but that can be Salesforce, Slack, HubSpot, and also Dust. So no more talking. Let's start first with the first sales use case. That is, how can we automate the personalization of email creation? So basically, we start with an input. In our website, we have a type form embedded in which we collect some inputs and info from the visitors of the website. The idea is, how can we turn this into an effective email generated? And how can we push it effectively to the sales? Basically, the sales, they are working on Salesforce, but their main usage tool, I would say, is Slack. In their day-to-day, I use Slack a lot, and this is the place where they are the most reactive. So basically, we started to create this very simple workflow that is, as an input, I have a new form request that is the same form I've shown you in web. Then from this form, you interact with the assistant you've created, and you retrieve the response from this assistant and push it directly to Slack. So this is how it works. This has been built on Make. There is the template in the slide. Maybe Remy will share it to you after or in the chat. But basically, what's interesting in this use case, is that it's really simple. It can be built based on the blueprint that there is on the drive, and in, let's say, 10 minutes, you can build a flow that will automate and streamline the process between marketing, inbound lead reception, and sales outreach. So in this use case, we had some learnings. First, that is to build emails on top of Dust. You have to be very close to the sales team. I'm not a sales at all, and I need their input and have a close feedback loop to basically iterate on the persona, iterate on the message, iterate on what is the trigger that it should that you should use. Sorry, and also to build an assistant that can draft emails. What I suggest is really to start with a dream email. Basically, you try to identify your ideal persona, you create your email, and then you let AI fill the blanks and fill personalized information. The objective of this is to have an efficient outreach without sacrificing the personal touch and having, let's say, a generic email that you can push directly into spam folder. We've had a lot of other initiatives around this, so I don't have any SLA figures that I can share with you because there are also other initiatives on this. But we noticed a major reduction in terms of the time that the sales are going to reach out to the sales. It decreased to less than 30 minutes, sorry. And also with the generalization of AI, we've noticed that the reply rate was well above the template that we used to send at Malt. So that's it for the first use case. And for the second one, this is more use case relevant to the product, because as you might understood or might live if you are in big companies, basically with more than 600 Malters working at Malt. We have a lot of product feedback, lot of interaction with clients, with freelancers, and then our job is to keep up with the feedbacks and basically push them to the right person. So we started with an input form that is, it can be on Slack, but it can be on Notion too. And this form should redirect directly to Notion. In between, you have an AI that is going to categorize this feedback, the AI provided by a Dust assistant, as you understood. So concretely, how to build this? First, you have to start with the Notion page. Again, there is a Notion page available and a template that you can download. But basically, you have to create two databases, one that will list all of your features and one that will gather all of your feedbacks. This way, you can, for a given feedback, identify the feature, the the product manager, sorry, associated, and push it directly to the table. Also, you can connect Dust to Notion directly. This way, you can make sure that every feedback can be linked and be taken into account in the future, so that if two people share the same feedback, then you can identify it. So how did we build this concretely? This is the flow we use on day-to-day at Malt. We get the info from the form that we get, then we exchange with Dust, and from the output of Dust, we redirect, that's the green module that we have on Make, and you can redirect the output based on the answer from Dust. On the blueprint, you will find, sorry, the very same prompt that we use at Malt. Our objective was to be able to detect, okay, what are the new feedbacks, what are the bugs, and what are the existing feedback. So the objective of the Dust assistant is, okay, this is a new feedback. I create a Notion item in the dedicated database, but if it's a bug, then I won't create any Notion item at all and inform the dev team directly. And if it's an existing feedback, sorry, I will link it to the existing one. What did we learn on this? Just to give you a bit of metric on this. So since September, we have more than 200 feedbacks. And what's interesting is that 15% of all feedbacks weren't managed at all. That's what we aim for, because we don't want to handle some bugs and 15 of the total of feedbacks were bugs. So we didn't handle them, and that's great news basically, because our product team can focus on what matters. And also, what's important is that 20% of all feedbacks were upvoted. So that's a feature that you can also build. So our objective with this is to make the product feedback sharing as collaborative as possible, so that every Malter can benefit from it. As of learnings, we started this automation even before Notion form existed. If I had to build it again, and that's the template that I share with you, you can build it using it and be even faster in building. So also, you should spend very lot of time on, okay, what are my features, what are the use cases, because basically there is in data this motto that is garbage in, garbage out. At the beginning we wanted to, yeah, accelerate and go too fast, and then at the end we spend more time cleaning our database, cleaning our processes, and so on. So we would have earned more time without focusing on this first. And last, what should have been beneficial from us is that, okay, if we start by the end looking for the output that we expect and then process backward, it's lot more efficient to work this way in building some automations. So that's it for the tagging use cases. And the last one is really, okay, how can we automate the draft generation for customer support questions? So at Malt, we use Front. Front basically is a shared Gmail, I would say, a shared inbox in which every customer support agent can receive tickets and answer to them. Our objective is, okay, how can we create a draft directly within this tool generated by Dust? So that was the first use cases. And then as we moved on, the objective was, okay, how can we build basically a dedicated agent that can answer all requests that came from external inputs? So how we built it concretely? First, we identified what are the most recurring topics. So we had our team tagging the tickets, saying, okay, we have 20% of compliance tickets, 13% of billing tickets, bug tickets, and so on. So this way, we could focus on what matter most and what are the topics that are the most recurrent. Then for each topics, we've mapped the processes. So, okay, if I have, for example, a billing ticket, what are the steps I'm going to perform as a human? What are the resources that I need to check to be able to give the best answer, and so on. And for each, we created a dedicated assistant on Dust that is able to answer this very specific topic. Then basically, as you've understood by now, we have to connect Front and Make, the no-code tool that we use. It's a native Front feature, so if you use it, you can do it in three clicks. And then we started to gather as much info as possible on Front. So the objective is to, okay, can we get the messages from all the conversation? For example, if someone exchange and talk 3, 4, 5 times, I want to get all of the history of the message so that I can perform the best answer. Also, I want to be able to get the former messages from another conversation. But also, I want to identify who I'm talking to, and maybe if they have exchanged some other messages. Then I condense all of this, push it to the Dust Assistant that you've created earlier, and you create basically in just 2 clicks a draft in Front. Now you have fixed this for layer 0 question for specific topics. What's next? Basically, you start to add some more steps. You start to search for your data warehouse to see, okay, what are the projects, what are the bidding status, what are the compliance status. You search for the CRM, looking for info. Okay, does this user exchange with the sales efficiently, and so on. Basically, by doing so and mapping all of the touch points that someone may have, you gather all info possible on this conversation to give the best answer possible. And then at the first, you have the first layer that is going to redirect the ticket to the dedicated agent and to the dedicated steps that you need to perform to be able to answer. So that's how we built it concretely. We started very little by a very dedicated topic, and then we scaled to basically a lot of tickets that we handle in our day-to-day at Malt. And to give you some metrics on this, so around 90% of all of our support conversation as of today have a first draft written, meaning we've started to map a lot and lot of the use cases on Malt. And we streamline the process so that it takes less than 20 seconds to get the answer from Dust and generate the draft. But yet, out of all the tickets created, 80% are created and well created and sent, but 20% are deleted. So that's the part where we focus, iterate on those, and trying to be as efficient and as precise as possible. On learnings, first, you should use XML tags to structure your prompt. There is a template Dust assistant called Prompt Writer. It's really useful to help you craft the perfect prompt to your assistant. This way, you can very structurize your assistant to give the best answer. Also, to your output, I would say you should use HTML tags. So this way you can have you have a human format with ordered list with bullet points, so that this way the message sent does not make the impression that it has been written by an AI. In here, obviously we have a human validation, so this way we can check that everything is all good. But that's one good use case. And last but not least, what we've noticed also is that the LLM can cut the noise and go directly to the important points. By getting all of the info that we have on the client, on our user, we can push them to the assistant, and this unstructured data can become quickly a structured data, be analyzed, and then be used at its best. And that's what we found the most impressive with this assistance.
So just a small precision on the number one here. Use
Yeah.
XML tags to structure your prompt. That works better for Claude. If you use Claude
Okay.
3.5 Sonnet, it loves XML. GPT-4 is a little bit different on this.
Okay. And
Um,
that's what we use, so it makes total sense.
awesome. So Leo, we have a few questions for you. How did you configure the AI assistant to differentiate between a feature that has already been proposed and one that's slightly different, almost the same, but still distinct? How do you set the threshold to avoid too many duplicates while still retaining valuable information?
Okay, so I don't see the end, but I will start with the first question, Jocelyn. So you have this really cool feature on Dust, that is query tables. So you can have the assistant directly query tables, and in this case, query Notion table. So we ask first, okay, regroup the feature, try to analyze, and then you can query. I don't know if Alban, you want to showcase how it's built or give more info on that, but that's how we do it. Basically, you make query table directly with Notion table, and then it works quite good, to be honest.
Yeah, basically just to give a little refresher on the query tables, it's the tool that's going to transform your data, which is CSVs, Excel spreadsheets, or Notion databases, or stuff like that. Anything that looks like a database to an actual SQL database. And then when you ask questions, it's going to generate SQL queries to that database. So that's why it can extract pretty fast actual answers, doing calculations or extracting data that you might want.
So yeah. that's how we do it.
And the second question was, how do you set the threshold to avoid too many duplicates while still retaining valuable information?
Okay, there is no threshold at all. So we aim to, when we communicate on it internally, we say, yeah, you should share your feedback that you feel that are the most relevant. And on the Notion tables, basically, how does it work? Is that we have items connected to a parent item. So this way, you have one parent item and a lot of items that are connected to the parent one, so that you can filter directly on the parent ones. And when you look at the Notion table, you can only filter to see the parent. And the hypothesis is that the first one is the parent. Maybe it's not the most relevant one, but then that's the hypothesis that we've taken. I hope
We've
that.
got a second question. Are the sales mails only for inbound leads, or are you also using them for outbound as well?
Yeah, so we only use them. So this use case was only used for inbound leads, but we are investigating to use it for outbound leads also. I know that Clay does it quite well, but so I guess that you can use this to perform the same way.
That's more of a question for me. Is it possible to filter Notion tables and then feed it to the assistant? That's something we're currently working on. We've been working on it today, actually. So it's not currently possible, but it's definitely something like we're working on a tags as a filter option to be able to say, okay, I want the assistant to dynamically or statically filter my data and not use the entire database. Cool. Thank you very much, Leo. That was great. Let's see if we have any other questions. If not, I'll have a little last thing I can show around troubleshooting assistance. Let's see. We've got, you offer a make integration. I already answered that question. So basically, if you use the make or the Zapier integration, you're going to hit your API account. So right now we still have, for a lot of workspaces, the regular fair limit usage, which is 100 messages per user of your workspace per day. So if you have 3 users, you have 300 messages you can share. If you have 1,000 users, you have 100,000 messages you can share per day. All right, I just want to show a last little thing. Let me remove that and show this. Basically, thank you, Leo, for mentioning the make integration. You might have started using it in the last webinar, because in the last builder session we talked about a lot of integrations, Zapier, Make, Zendesk, Google Sheet, etc. I just want to show the growth of usage of these extensions, because Dust started as a chat only platform, and then we started building some extensions. You can see that the Zapier extension is averaging 2.5 thousand messages a day right now. The Make is going around 2,000. And if we look at the Zendesk extension, which is integrating directly Dust inside of Zendesk, it's growing as well. The Google Sheet has some steady usage, but a lot of messages, because as soon as you apply your Google Sheet extension to one line, it's sending one message. And we also have Dust Chrome extension. If you haven't installed it right now, it's a really good thing to install, because we have it makes your life different. Basically, it can see what you're looking at and answer with your data. That's something that's been life changing for a lot of people, even on our team. So that's really something I wanted to mention. Cool. So the last little parts, I don't see any other questions to answer right now. So the last little thing that we want to Chrome extension for Arc. Yeah, Arc. So basically, we decided to do a Chrome extension that shows up in a side panel instead of a pop-up that covers your content. It just opens a side panel and pushes your content a little bit. And Arc doesn't allow that. So for now, sorry, no Arc extension. So yeah, we have a lot of our developers using Arc as well, and they're a bit disappointed. Um, okay, so one last thing I wanted to talk about is troubleshooting your assistants. So let me share that again. That's going to be a little bit more boring to look at, so I'll try to explain more than show. I'm going to share the link in the chat. Basically, in the documentation, you have a page about how to troubleshoot your assistants, because there's a lot of common issues that people are talking to us about in the Slack community. Because if you haven't joined it yet, we have a Slack community that you can join and share what you build in Dust and ask your questions. And there's Remy is managing it brilliantly, and there's a lot of people on that. So don't hesitate to join. There's going to be emails with the link to join that are going to be sent. But basically, we see a lot of the same questions, and one of them is it's not finding the right source. The main thing is that to be able to find the right source, that's what Leo was saying. When you're creating your assistants or your workflows, you want dedicated assistants to a specific set of data. The more data you give to an assistant, the more lost it's going to be, because if you give it a sea of information, it's going to be harder to find the needle in the haystack than if you give it the right information that you want to pinpoint at. So focus on specific sources, improve your prompts, make sure that your prompts are not too generic, that they're not saying anything that might confuse them. Basically, there's a lot of times that we hear about, oh, we have different contracts and for different customers, but there's the same contract, and so we're trying to find a specific end of date contract or stuff like that. The main thing is that if you use this search tool, it's doing a semantic search. Semantic search means it's searching for meaning. So if you have the same meaning in two different documents, it's going to retrieve both. So it's not going to be able to say, okay, this is from that customer and this is from that customer, because the meaning is the same. So we're building a feature that's going to show up in the next few weeks or months, that's going to be keyword search, that's going to let you search for a specific keyword. But for now, it's not available on Dust. So if you see if you're trying to target a source that looks exactly like another source, then you should try to separate them. If you could do, for example, one assistant that has access to a specific customer's data and the other one that has access to another customer's data. But if you have the same thing for two different customer, well, I'm using a customer's example, but it could be projects, it could be pretty much anything, then it's going to get confused. Um, about making things up and hallucination, it's a little bit less true with the new models. They're a little bit less hallucinating. But main thing you want is to make sure you select a model that corresponds to what you want to do. um, well, we've got some documentation around which model is better at doing what, but that's changing a lot as well with the new models coming, with the reasoning models and stuff like that. It's going to be a game changer. Adjust the creativity settings. So if you go to advanced settings on the top right, so here on the top right, when you're creating your assistance instructions, you can choose the model and you can choose the creativity level. By default, it's a balance, what we call balanced. Basically, it's a 7 out of 10 creative model. If you go for creative 10 out of 10, it's going to start saying really different things every time you ask the same question. If you choose balance, it's going to change a little bit their answer. Factual is going to change just a tiny bit. And if you use deterministic, it's going to always answer the same thing. So main thing with deterministic is that if it's wrong, it's wrong. It's gonna be it's gonna stay wrong. So that's why you don't really want to use deterministic, but you might want to change your creativity level depending on what you're asking your assistant. If it's just retrieving data, be really, really factual, then use factual. If you want it to generate emails and be a little bit more creative, then you want to use creative, balanced or creative. All right. we've got 4 minutes left, so I'll use the last few minutes to answer the last few questions. Are you planning to increase the number of private spaces? Yes, we'll have. We're actually looking at building a new plan that's in between the pro plan and the enterprise plan. That's going to allow us to be able to be more flexible in this. We're still a young company. We're still working out a little bit the pricing and how everything works, because token consumption is expensive, and some people consume a lot of tokens, and so we need, we're still working out the pricing a little bit. So you might see a new plan pop up in the next in the near future. Thank you very much, everyone. I'll just pop back all the speakers and Remy as well, who's managing the community, answering all the chat questions. Thank you, everybody. It was awesome to have you. It was awesome to see your use cases. Thanks a lot, guys. And again, join the Slack community. Remy just sent all the links. Leo and Laurent, don't hesitate to join the Slack community as well if you want to share your use cases and everything you've been showing today. Thanks for your time, and thanks for the organization.
Thank you.
See you, everyone.